All right, so today we're going to dive into something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's pulsed electromagnetic field technology.
PEMF.
PEMF, you got it. And this is actually based on a bunch of YouTube video transcripts.
Right.
That you, our listeners, have sent our way.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to pull out, what's really being said about PEMF.
Yeah, what are the big takeaways here?
Exactly. Yeah, what should we be paying attention to?
Mm-hmm.
And, we've got a real mix here. We've got some, like, kind of initial, first impression type stuff.
Yeah.
And then we've got some more from, like, healthcare practitioners who are...
Right, more clinical.
Yeah, more clinical, exactly. So it gives us, a little bit of a range of perspectives to look at.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So let's jump into it.
Okay.
The first video that we looked at is this guy, Michael Tellinger.
Right.
And he's talking about his, like, very first... attempts using this, what he calls a cell-to-end PEMF device. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was using it for himself, right? He's like a self-healing kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he specifically mentions, issues with his rotator cuff. He kind of lists a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And he uses some really strong language to describe the technology.
Like what?
Well, he uses words like groundbreaking.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So it seems like he's having a pretty powerful first impression.
Yeah, it's interesting how, like, even just from the start, he uses those words extraordinary, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It kind of, like, sets the stage for, the rest of it.
Right, like this is a big deal kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it does set this high bar for, like, what this technology is maybe capable of.
Right.
In terms of, like, personal, recovery and healing and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So building on that, the next video we looked at was a little more promotional.
Okay.
Talking about the possibility of relieving years of chronic pain.
Right, for yourself, for your loved ones, for your community.
Exactly, for everyone you know, and without medication and without surgery.
Yours.
So it really focuses on this idea, that PEMF can be like this powerful, non-invasive device. And then there's even this offer for a free PEMF session.
Oh, wow.
From this company called Cell2N.
Okay, so it's Cell2N.
Yeah, Cell2N.
Gotcha.
So it's, it's interesting to see, like, that shifts from personal experience to, like, broader promises.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, those two kind of go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
You have that initial strong personal reaction, and then this idea that, this could be widespread.
Right, for everyone.
Everyone could benefit from this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that offer for a free session, that's a classic marketing strategy. But it also suggests this confidence that this technology can produce, like, noticeable effects pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Right. It's like, come try it. You'll see the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we've got these initial takes, these broader promises, and then things kind of shift in this third video where we start to hear from some healthcare practitioners.
Okay.
And it gets a little more into, like, the professional viewpoints.
Right.
And one of the key ideas here is that PEMF basically adds external energy.
To recharge.
Recharge, exactly.
The cells.
Yeah, the cells and the cell membranes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, what's the thinking behind that? Like, why is that?
Right. Well, so the idea here is that cells in our bodies, they operate with, like, electrical charges.
Right.
And when the cells are stressed or injured or just not functioning at their best, this electrical potential can get messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So the theory behind PEMF is that by introducing these, like, specific pulsed electromagnetic fields, you can actually influence cellular activity. Potentially by affecting the movement of ions and maybe even impacting signaling pathways within the cells.
Okay, so it's like...
So think of it like this. It's like a way to try and restore a healthier electrical balance, which could then lead to, improved function and healing at a very basic level.
Right.
Now, the exact mechanisms, those are still being explored.
Sure.
But that's the general idea that's being presented. It's really about trying to get those cells back to functioning at their best.
Yeah, and these practitioners are saying that they're seeing some pretty notable outcomes.
Right.
They talk about observing changes that they hadn't seen before with other approaches.
Yeah.
And they even mention, like, extremely sick people showing improvement within a week.
Yeah.
So those are some pretty big claims.
They are. And it's important to acknowledge that these are anecdotal accounts, right?
Of course.
This is based on their clinical observations.
Yeah.
And while those kinds of experiences can be really compelling, they do differ from findings based on controlled scientific studies.
Sure.
But the enthusiasm among these practitioners is definitely evident.
Yeah, they really believe in it.
They're reporting these positive shifts in their patients' health that they're attributing, at least in part, to using PEMF. So it's definitely something to pay attention to.
One specific application that stood out to me was this idea of using PEMF with ozone therapy.
Oh, interesting.
Delivered into joints.
Okay.
And the practitioner who mentioned this said that they prefer to combine those two approaches.
I see.
So I'm wondering what might be the rationale for that combination.
Well, I think that suggests a belief in this synergistic effect, right? So ozone therapy is sometimes used for its potential anti-inflammatory and oxygen-boosting properties. And then combining it with PEMF, which is believed to enhance cellular function and maybe speed up healing processes.
Right.
It could theoretically amplify the benefits of both treatments.
Oh, I see.
So it really reflects the practitioner's perspective that PEMF can be a valuable, complementary modality.
Yeah, it works well with other things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it can be added onto other treatments to potentially enhance their effects.
So they also talked about, instances of immediate relief and, accelerated healing.
Right.
One example that really stood out was this patient who went from pain to no pain after 20 minutes.
Wow.
So that's pretty attention-grabbing, right?
It is. It's definitely impactful. These reports of such rapid pain reduction can really generate a lot of interest.
Yeah.
And while individual responses to any therapy can vary, significantly, these kinds of experiences, they can be very encouraging for both patients and practitioners.
Right. If you see that kind of result,
yeah,
it makes you think, wow, this could be something special.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does contribute to that perception of PEMF as potentially this fast-acting intervention for pain. Yeah.
And it wasn't just about immediate effects.
Right.
There was this anecdote about a client who decided to buy her own PEMF machine.
Oh, wow.
After only 8 treatments.
Really?
And she said she got her life back.
That's amazing.
So it seems like, she was experiencing some long-term benefits and a substantial improvement in her overall well-being.
That kind of testimonial, where a patient feels the benefits are significant enough to actually invest in their own device, that often carries a lot of weight.
Right.
It suggests that the improvements she experienced weren't just temporary.
Yeah.
They actually led to this lasting positive change in her quality of life, which is really powerful.
Yeah, for sure. And what really stood out to me was the strength of their conviction.
Yeah, how much they believed in it.
Exactly. They were saying that every healthcare practitioner,
regardless of specialty,
should have a PEMF machine.
Wow.
Especially for chronic diseases.
That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, so they're really endorsing this idea that it has broad applicability.
Yeah, it reflects this belief that PEMF has this wide-ranging potential to influence health outcomes.
Yeah.
Across so many different conditions. They seem to view it as this fundamental tool that could really enhance healing and improve patient outcomes in lots of different cases.
So shifting gears a little bit, the conversation also touched upon the business side of things.
Okay.
The potential for PEMF as a revenue stream.
Right.
They mentioned that, trained technicians can administer the therapy.
Right.
Which could attract new clients. And then we even heard some specific examples of the potential financial benefits.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, one practitioner said that the machine could pay for itself in 2-3 months.
Wow.
Just from patient enthusiasm and word-of-mouth referrals.
That's impressive.
And they also talked about, attracting cash-paying patients.
Right.
Who know they feel better afterwards.
Yeah, so they're willing to pay out of pocket because they see the value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's your take on this, this intersection of patient benefits and the business side of it?
Yeah, it brings in this important practical dimension, right?
Right.
So while the primary focus for healthcare practitioners is, of course, patient well-being, the financial health of their practice is also a crucial consideration.
Right. They got to keep the lights on.
Exactly. And the fact that PEMF can be administered by trained staff, that makes it potentially more accessible within a practice. And then these reports of patient satisfaction leading to word-of-mouth referrals and people willing to pay for the treatment.
Yeah.
It really highlights this potential alignment between positive patient experiences and the financial sustainability of offering PEMF therapy.
Yeah, like a win-win.
Exactly. And I think the key here is that idea that patients who feel real tangible benefits,
Yeah.
they're more likely to invest in ongoing treatment.
Right. It makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also heard from this practitioner who has been using PEMF every single day since 2008.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, with every single client.
Really?
Regardless of, what their primary reason for treatment is.
That's fascinating.
And they're reporting better and faster improvements as a result.
Yeah.
So that kind of long-term consistent use.
It really speaks volumes.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it goes beyond the initial excitement of a new technology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It points to this consistent positive experience over many years and with all sorts of different patients.
Mm-hmm.
And this practitioner's approach really suggests that they view PEMF as like a core element of their practice.
Right.
That enhances the effectiveness of everything else they do.
Yeah, so looking at all of these different accounts,
Mm-hmm.
the personal experiences, the promotional stuff, the practitioner's perspectives.
Right.
What are the key claims about PEMF that seem to be consistent throughout?
Well, I think the recurring themes definitely point to PEMF as this non-invasive technology that's primarily focused on pain relief and promoting cellular energy and healing.
Okay.
There's a strong emphasis on the potential for pretty rapid improvements and enhanced healing processes that can be applied to a wide range of health conditions.
Yeah, and it's hard to ignore the overwhelmingly positive tone and how strongly these people believe in its effectiveness.
Yeah, especially the healthcare practitioner.
Yes. I mean, even when we consider that some of this material is promotional, the consistency in the types of benefits they're reporting, it does seem noteworthy.
Yeah, it's like they're all saying the same kinds of things.
Exactly. Yeah, it suggests there's something there that's worth exploring further.
So for you, our listener, let's try to sum this up.
Okay.
Based on what we've seen here, PEMF is presented as this promising non-invasive technology that might offer relief from pain and support cellular healing. We've heard anecdotal evidence suggesting rapid and significant improvements in various conditions.
Yeah.
And we've also heard these strong endorsements from healthcare professionals who are using PEMF in their practices.
Right.
And they're seeing both clinical and potential business benefit.
Exactly. And I think these initial glimpses from the material you shared,
Yeah.
they provide a really compelling snapshot of how PEMF is currently being perceived and used in these specific contexts.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. Given these insights into PEMF, what other questions come to mind?
Yeah.
You've heard about its potential for cellular healing.
Right.
So what more do you want to understand about the mechanisms behind that?
Yeah.
What kind of scientific research would you look for to evaluate these claims beyond just the testimonials?
Right.
And as we see PEMF being integrated into some healthcare practices, what are your thoughts on its potential for wider adoption? And what factors might influence that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
These are just some of the things you might want to explore further as you continue to learn about PEMF.
Absolutely.
And think about its potential and its limitations.
It's definitely a topic that warrants further investigation.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Yeah, this was a great discussion.
We'll see you next time.
All right, take care.
Bye.